Hello and welcome to the Ivory Tower from the studios of Swin TV at Swinburne University. I'm Andrew Dodd. Today we're focusing on one of Australia's nearest neighbours, Timor-Leste or East Timor. We'll look at the recent history of our relationship, including the trouble over the Timor Gap Treaty and some of the environmental and development challenges facing the country. First though, we're going to get up to speed on who's who in Timor-Leste today. And to help us, we're joined by Associate Professor Michael Leach of Swinburne University and Mika Barreto Soares, a postgraduate student at Swinburne. Welcome to you both.
Hi, Andrew.
I thought what we might do first is have a look at one of the most prominent people in East Timor today, a very prominent leader by virtue of the fact that he's president, Tau Matanruak. Who is he and what's he done whilst being president?
Well, Tau Matanruak is the current president. He was the final leader of Falentil, which was the military wing of the resistance against the Indonesian occupation. As your viewers may know, East Timor fought a successful 24-year campaign against Indonesian occupation, and they had several wings of that resistance. One of them was a military wing inside the territory of East Timor. Tau Matanruak, otherwise known as José Vasconcelos, was the final leader of that military wing and is now the president.
He was elected president as an independent. What's he done as president? What's he done to make a mark as president?
He has popular support from the people, but also with some of the leaders, for example, Shanana, back him quite strong in his election to become a president. So far, I think he has done, in terms of his role, for example, when he became first year of his presidency, he traveled throughout the country to talk to people and to show that he is the president of the country now. And so far, he has been critical of some of the government's program. For example, in terms of the implementations of the government's program, he's quite critical. In terms of his leadership, I think people like it so far.
So you said there he's aligned in a sense with Shanana Gusmao, who's the second person we want to look at. He, of course, was the first president and is now the Prime Minister. What's he doing as Prime Minister to, that's distinctive as opposed to his role as president?
It's worth pointing out that in the East Timorese system, the Prime Minister is much more powerful than the President. The President is a symbolic figurehead with some powers.
Since he became Prime Minister, as you know, Timor-Leste went through a crisis in 2006. What we experience today in terms of relative peace is thanks to his leadership as well. I think one of the biggest achievements that Shanana has in his term as a Prime Minister is create peace, and now that we are beginning to develop the country. Yeah.
Well, let's have a look at perhaps the most prominent woman in East Timor at the moment, Emilia Perez. She's the Minister of Financial Affairs. Mika, what's she doing and what's she up to as Minister in that capacity?
Well, I can say that she's the purchase holder of the Timor-Leste's financial capital. She does not only play internally as one of the very important ministerial seat, but also she's the leader of chair of the G7 Plus, which is an organization that bring together all the fragile state countries, and she plays quite prominent role in this case as chairing that organization.
Is she having an impact?
Yeah, she's been invited onto very high-level UN committees as a result. The one that Mika mentioned, the G7 Plus, is a group of fragile states that are looking for new types of development relationships with donor countries, and I think it's an exciting and interesting initiative that East Timor is playing a key role in as the chair.
Mm-hmm. The Minister for Foreign Affairs, José Luis Gutierrez. Tell us about him.
Well, Lugu, as he's known, was part of the diplomatic front. So he was outside East Timor during the 24 years. He's now the foreign minister, so he's got a lot of experience in foreign affairs. He comes from a smaller party, Frente Mudança, and he's the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So he's in the front line of some of these current issues going on, around oil and gas and the International Court of Justice and so on.
I want to move straight along to the opposition leader, Mario Alkatiri, who's been very prominent in terms of playing the politics in East Timor in its short life as a country. He's now opposition leader. How is he faring in that role?
There's a new phase in East Timorese politics that's quite interesting, and I think the new president has a lot to do with that. There's a greater degree of cooperation between the government, led by Shinana Guzmão, and the opposition, led by Mari Alkatiri, who historically have been at loggerheads with one another. So it's a promising development for East Timor to see greater cooperation, because as your viewers may know, all the international peacekeeping forces have left East Timor now, so it's very important that there's political stability.
And very quickly, Gio Pereira, the Minister of State and tipped as a potential future leader. Should we know a bit about him?
Yes, he's now the Minister of the State and of the Presidency of the Council of Ministers, quite an important portfolio in Timor-Leste government structure. In terms of a potential leader, as many people talk about, as Shinana himself announced that he will resign in September, but not so many people knows about the inside story about this change of leadership. And Agiu's name has been also talking among the people, but Agiu Pereira was not alone in this case. We have other names like Fernando Lasama, Rui Maria Araújo, Dionísio Babu, including Agiu himself in this case. Yeah.
Well, thank you both for giving me an update on who's who in East Timor at the moment. I appreciate it. You're watching the Ivory Tower. More in a moment.